All right, Coach, so you guys had the scrimmage over the weekend. How'd it go?
Yeah, I would say typical first scrimmage. It's let's talk about the good first. I thought our defensive line um, really showed growth last Friday and Saturday. Challenged them on Wednesday. They probably had their worst practice of the week last Wednesday, and I thought they played really, really physical. Thought they played with their hands, and they were productive. TFL sacks. Um, I thought in the secondary we played pretty clean. I don't think we had a single penalty. Offensively, the disappointing thing was penalties and negative plays. We didn't play very well up front. We didn't play very well up front on Saturday, and we did a bunch of team today and we didn't play very well up front. And so the challenge offensively is we're only going to be as good as our offensive line. And if our offensive line plays like they did on Saturday or today, then we're going to struggle.
Where do you stand with your quarterback ranks as you get down close to this last scrimmage?
Yeah, they're all three getting reps, and I like kind of the progression all three are making. They all made some plays on Saturday. Today, I thought Chaston had a great day today. And then Taven's probably been the most consistent throughout the time. And then Chris is showing some flashes. And so, it really hasn't changed from where I said it was, I think, back on media days. Taven's in the lead right now. I think Chaston and Jemerson both are pushing him. And I'm pleased with all three of them. I think they've all three done some really good things.
When do you make a decision, you think?
You just kind of let it play out. It's one of those things, I think, with quarterback. Are we going to make this big announcement? I don't know. I think most of the time the way these quarterback races go, it's pretty evident. And the guys on the team know. And so if our communications people feel like we need to make one, we'll make one. We'll put that on Doug.
What has Jackson done that's kind of been consistent that you were pointing at media day?
He's his veteran presence. And the other thing, too, is he's been through some adversity, at Indiana and at UCF. And I think what that does, it gives you some resiliency. He's felt disappointment before, and he's worked extremely hard since he's been here, not to repeat that feeling. And he's super talented. You're talking about a guy that's 6'3 plus. He's built really well. He can run 20 miles per hour. He's an effective runner. The previous two schools where he's played at Indiana and UCF really haven't asked him to run, but he can. And so he's playing with a lot of confidence right now. I think that's kind of starting to show. He's got a great grasp of what we're doing offensively. He's smart, and we're putting him in some duress right now. That's kind of what you do in camp. You try to put the quarterbacks in as many difficult situations as possible, and he's handled those well.
How about that spot that Caden Jenkins left? What have you seen from that position group, especially for his spot that he had?
Yeah, probably as much competition at that position as anywhere on our team. And there's been some guys, I think, like in Caden's absence, Jaden Allen has really stepped up. He's put together, he's stacking days. He stacked 4, 5, 6 days in a row. Chase Canada's been out with a minor injury, so we're hoping to get him back toward the end of the week. We need Chase. It's not something that's serious, but he's missed some practice, and every time you miss practice, you fall behind a little bit. I think Keyshawn DeVille has made a big step since spring ball. He's matured, and he had a lot of penalties in the spring, but he's really cleaned that up. And so proud of how he's competing. And I think those two guys are probably guys that have really stepped up. Zach Johnson has made some plays as well.
What has Chaston done to kind of elevate himself in that race? What is it about him that you like?
Well, Chaston, I think he starts with he's got grit. The guys really enjoy playing with him. He's a natural runner. He's gotten a lot faster since he's been here, but he's a natural runner, and he can make all the throws. He's really good buying himself some time in the pocket. I think that's maybe what sets him apart from some other quarterbacks is he's got a really good feel for pocket movement, when to move up, when to escape. And he's done a nice job in the run game. That's probably been the surprise. Like when he came here, I didn't realize he'd be an effective runner as he is.
Coach, last week you mentioned those cornerbacks, a couple of offensive linemen as guys who would for sure be starting for you. Is anyone else kind of solidified their spot on this roster?
No, we're trying to find 5 offensive linemen. We got 2. We got 2 that we can play with right now. Unfortunately, they don't let you play college football with 2 offensive linemen, so we're gonna have to. We got some work to do in that realm. I think the flip on that is D-line. is we're starting to establish some real depth. You know, we feel like, you know, there's upwards of 8 guys that we can play with, and so that's been good. I think Ben Black's done a great job with those guys, and they're starting to come together.
So, what, your center and Johnny are the two guys you feel good about?
Yeah, I feel good about Johnny Williams. He can get better. But Chandler Strong's been the clear best player up front the entire camp, and then every other position is up for grabs. And we've mixed and matched. We're going to continue to do it. We're going to find it. And here's the deal: like, we're going to find 5 guys. They're going to come off the football. They're going to be physical. They're going to get lined up with urgency, and they're going to do what we're asking them to do from a footwork standpoint and run in the pass game. We just haven't found them yet. We got 2. And we got about 6 guys that are competing to get in the mix, and we're going to keep at it. And Coach Maddox, Coach Balesh, myself, we'll get them ready, but we're not anywhere close to being game ready right now.
Who are some of those guys who are competing on the offensive line?
And the rest of them, every other person on the roster. Yeah, we'll try them all because I'm not real happy. I think we're soft in the run game right now. We play with terrible pad level. We're not trusting our footwork in the run game, which causes us to get beat and give up TFLs and sacks. You know, we keep false stepping in pass pro. And so until we do our footwork, until we decide up front that we want to be physical, then it's an open competition. And so best men win. I don't care. I don't care if they're on scholarship. I don't care if we're paying them rev share. I don't care if they're walk-ons. I don't care. I just want 5 guys that are going to do what their coach do and be physical as hell coming off the ball.
Last week you mentioned just the heat and kind of how you'd like to see this team get to step up a little bit in that aspect. Have you seen any growth on that front?
Yeah, we're working on it. Significantly better than the first time we went to the stadium. I think a week ago Saturday. So I feel a lot better about that. They don't have a choice. You know what it's been. I don't remember last time it rained, but it's been 100 plus here for a long time. And so we're out in it every day. And I think you have to. And you have to get used to the elements. And it's just something else that you got to, it's a natural adversity. It's kind of what I talked to them about. We don't have a choice in it. And so, yeah, I think guys it's less of a distraction. And they're learning, hey, you got to really prepare your body. You better hydrate, you better eat, you better sleep to get yourself in here so you can go compete.
Yeah, you mentioned Chase Canada, small minor injury. Anyone else from that scrimmage? Any minor injuries or anything notable?
Vic, tight end, he's been out a little bit. I don't think it's anything major with him. Dalton Carnes is slow with a lower body injury. Mm-hmm. He's going to miss a little bit of time. How significant to be determined. Those are kind of the guys that right now that right off the top of my head.
You guys were so great last year offensively before you got here. What's your confidence level in this team kind of picking up where it left off offensively being a high-powered
Yeah,
team?
they were number 1 in the country offensively last year, you know, and so a lot of credit to those guys. Don't spend a ton of time talking about it. The only thing that we address with them is there's a tradition of playing high-level offense here, and that was established. Eric did a good job with that. They were good under Seth. You know, they had some teams that were highly productive offensively even before Seth was here. And so there's a tradition of playing high-level offense here. And so the expectation is that continues. Now, it's a whole different team. You know, like there's nobody that played significant snaps on last year's team, on this year's team. So 0 carryover as far as that's concerned. But the expectation is regardless who's in the helmet, whoever put the wings on is we're going to be really good on offense. And we will. I don't know when. We're not today. We're not today, and a lot of that has to do with how we're playing up front. But at some point during the year, we'll be a high-level functioning offense that falls in line with the tradition that's been here.
What gives you that confidence that you guys will be, you know?
Well, I think that we have some playmakers. You know, I feel good about the quarterbacks. I think we have multiple playmakers in the quarterback room. I think at tight end, both Max Reese and Breck Long are going to be plus players in our league. I like what Barron Tipton's doing. I think Jeene White will be a difference maker. I think Brendan Haygood is a kid that he's got to continue to grow and learn because he's young, but he has playmaking skills as well. And then we've got a kind of a few more of those receivers. Just it depends on who's going to step up. They've kind of been inconsistently making plays. What I mean by that, maybe one day it's one guy making a play, and next guy, a couple days later, another guy makes a play. So we need to figure out who can have some consistency, who's going to be our second, kind of third option in that room. But that's reason. And I think schematically we're going to do some things that will give some people some problems. So I have a lot of confidence in that as well.
You feel good about where Jeene White Is that?
I do. And I think a lot of credit goes to him and the medical squad here too. I think that we've pushed him in an intelligent way. I think he's really strong right now. He's practiced. He's done every single practice drill other than we've gone full tackle. And he would do that. He's ready to do that. He's released to do that. That's just a coach's decision. And so really pleased with him.
You plan on getting him at full contact?
No, we probably won't. Yeah, it'd be different if he'd never played. But, you know, he's got 2 years of significant starting experience in the Big 12. He'll be fine when it comes to contact.
Yeah, you mentioned Ditta and Jackson, and obviously Jimerson can run the ball really well. You know, how do you feel like those guys being able to showcase that in practice has really helped the defense, especially in the secondary, you know, trying to, you know, stop the run?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a challenge, you know, and we got, you know, I think as the head coach and not just the offensive play caller, man, you got to really get your defense ready to go for what they're going to see during the season. And so when we're in camp, and that's what camp gets you ready for the season. We're not in camp getting ready for Indiana. I mean, we're in camp right now getting prepared for the season, and we got to give our defense a lot of different looks of what they're going to see in the season, because you get in there, man, it's a short time, you know, and so they need to get some practice reps. It's a little bit of trial and error, you know, figuring out what we can do and what we can't do versus certain looks, offensive looks that we're giving them. And, yeah, that's part of it without a question.
Is next week that install week for Indiana, or is that something?
So
you
what
guys
we'll
start
do
right
is
now?
we're rolling through camp right now. We're going to be heavy install all the way through Saturday. We'll have another scrimmage on Saturday. We'll do a mock week next week that we'll start with Indiana, but I don't think we're at a point. We got to continue to be good on good. We got so many people that haven't played a lot of football. They're experienced, but there's not starting experience. So I think we got to continue doing some good on good next week. But we will get into some Indiana prep.
What's a position group you're looking forward to kind of seeing improve, or, you know, with the position?
Oh,
balance
no question. Like the offensive line, you know, they've been challenged. You know, I'm sitting here talking to y'all about it. Like, but at the same time, I have a lot of faith that we're going to be better. You know, because I believe in how we're going to coach them. I believe that they're going to respond in the right way. But at the same time, they're not where they're not anywhere close to being what we need them to be right now. And so we need some guys to answer the bell. And it comes down to being physical. Can you play physical with your hands and come off the football and then trust your footwork in pressure situations? And until they do that, we just got to continue to put them in those situations. But that's the group. That's the group. I've never been on a good football team that doesn't have a good offensive line. And so they need to understand that. And so the pressure's on them.
Is that an afternoon scrimmage, or is that a night scrimmage, or?
We're going in the afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah, we're going to go in the afternoon. Try to simulate what time we're going to play at when UNLV comes here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Koch came in last week, and he seems like a guy that may be able to help you. What do you see from him?
No, he will, Brad. He'll be able to help us. Probably maybe the most improved player from that was on the team last year to now. I think, and if you remember, he kind of came on. Remember, he caught, I think, either 1 or 2 balls in the bowl game, and was in the rotation. Probably played the most snaps he's played all year in the bowl game. I was impressed with him watching bowl prep, and he's really taken that and kept coming. And so he's definitely going to be a factor in us. He'll be a rotational guy. He's made some plays. He's one of those guys that's kind of done it inconsistently, right? But he's had flashes. He'll definitely be in the rotation. Really up to him. Is he going to be one of these guys that's a go-to guy? Is he going to be kind of a rotational, to be determined?
Yeah, what do you want to see in that final scrimmage, you know, before you really go into Indiana?
Well, we got to clean up operationally. I think offensively we got to clean up some things operationally. And then the offensive line, I know y'all are tired of hearing me talking about them, but I mean, we got to play better on the offensive line. I think we got to tackle in the secondary, you know, and honestly, those are probably the 2 hardest things when you go live. It's hard offensive line wise. It's the most difficult position to play, and it requires the most practice time. And then the flip of that is in the secondary on defense, the communication aspects with all the people motioning, shifting, tempoing, and being able to tackle high-level athletes in space. And so Saturday, we need to see much improved offensive line play, and we got to tackle better in the secondary.
Last question. Cool. That's all right.
Y'all good? All right, thanks, guys. Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.